Hello and welcome to News Central TV. I'm Darshan Usman. The top stories this hour. Abia State Governor Alex Otti orders arrest of factional Labour Party Chairman Julius Abure as party crisis deepens. Kano State Government bans live political programs, issues interview guidelines to journalists. Angolan lawyers reject last-minute court orders stopping its planned debate on electoral reforms. Details of these stories and more coming up shortly. We begin the news in Abia State, where Governor Alex Otti has asked the Inspector General of Police to arrest Julius Abure, factional chairman of the Labour Party. The Abure faction of the LP on Wednesday indefinitely suspended Governor Otti and Ireti Kingibe, the senator representing the Federal Capital Territory, along with Darlington Nwokocha, Victor Afam Ogene, Amobi Ogah, and Seyi Sowunmi from the party. Reacting in a statement issued by Ferdinand Okeoma, his special advisor on media and publicity, Otti accused Abure of impersonation and described news of his suspension as a joke taken too far and an affront on democracy. Meanwhile, residents of Umuahia, the Abia state capital, are expressing concern over the recent statements credited to the Julius Abure-led executive and Nenadi Usman's led executive allegedly suspending some key members of the party. While some say the Abure supposed suspension has no bearing, others say it will negatively impact governance in Abia State since Governor Alex Otti is involved. They are also expressing disappointment that the party has allowed their rancor to linger for too long.
We don't want to talk about Abure suspending Otti, but the Supreme Court has a ruling about Labour Party that Abure is no more the chairman of the Labour Party. I think I'm right. So, and if that is the case, the suspension that will hold water is that of Nenadi Usman suspending Abure. And that is going to speak well for Labour Party for the coming election.
Not minding however any person may look at it. His Excellency as a human being must definitely be worried about the whole thing. He should definitely be worried, thinking of what next to do, or no, thinking of what the next platform to still actualize his political ambition, as well as continue rendering the selfless service rendering in Abia. So, and definitely, we don't operate independent candidacy here. Definitely, there must be a platform on which he is to actualize that.
Politics. Former President Goodluck Jonathan has decried the establishment of a one-party system in Nigeria through the back door. Jonathan cautioned that entrenching a one-party system in the country could destabilize the nation's fragile democracy. Now, he gave the warning while speaking at a memorial lecture held in honor of the late elder statesman Chief Edwin Clark in Abuja. The former president emphasized the dangers of political manipulation aimed at sidelining opposition parties, stressing that Nigeria's complex ethnic, religious, and political landscape necessitates a more inclusive political framework. We also understand that the Senate is today holding a session in honor of the statesman. Now, joining us from Abuja for more on this is a political mobilizer and strategist, Victor Atewe. Thank you so much for joining us on the news, Victor.
And good afternoon.
Victor, there's so much happening in the political space at the moment. You know, the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, has arguably, one of the most sterling democratic credentials in his generation. Now, how worried should we be about his observation?
Yeah, I think for well-meaning Nigerians such as myself, we are very, I think this is a call that we all need to wake up to. It's really dangerous for our political system, given to the instability in the political terrain we belong, in Nigeria, and given to the fact that, there are a lot of, totalitarian, or let me use the word, autocratic movement, with the ruling party. So I think having a backdoor one-party state is really dangerous for our political setting, and it's really going to further sinking the democracy we so practice. So I think it's really a timely call, and I think all Nigerians should really wake up to that and look, because right now, what we have now, we have parties or we have people who are just about the interests, but the lack of ideology, and who put themselves first against nation building. So I think it's a wake-up call, and it's really timely.
All right. Now, is Nigeria really sliding into a one-party state? Because, so many people have actually assumed that. What's the true shape of things as we know it? Are people being forced, or is there anything like that?
Of course, it's a long call, and it's just not. I think because we belong to a political terrain where the ruling party is really using all means necessary to whisk the oppositions to themselves, those they feel that will help them win the next election. However, this is a long call, and we've always, there's no difference between the PDP and the APC. As such, we have people who are just there to, who are there to play themselves above even the so-called party they represent is about self. So I think we have that right now playing the one-party state. It's really, it is right now playing more than ever before. And I think Nigerians should look out for credible leaders who will put Nigerians first against themselves. So, because, what's the ideology behind someone leaving PDP and joining the APC? Some would say because of the party rancor and the party not being able to put themselves together. There's no difference between those two parties. And of course, a Labour Party too is tilting towards that way. With the Abure faction, coming as a stooge for the ruling party to destabilize the party. So it's really playing out, and and we also practice democracy. Our democratical system is where when the ruling party takes it all. So everybody wants to be where the cake is being shared. That's what we're seeing playing out.
Okay. Now, you seem not to have an idea of, what is really to be blamed for the, amount of defections that we're seeing today. But then, we also know that 2027 is already by the corner, and, the amount of defections is really, really disturbing. It's alarming. So if everyone eventually winds up, in the APC, will it still be called a democracy?
Of course not. Of course not. What we would see practicing is a monarchy kind of system. A monarchy kind of government, to say. So, but I would say for Nigerians, I think it's a good call that we're bringing it to the fore to make people see that, it's going to be dangerous for our democratic system. But I also really would want to say that this is high time that Nigerians need to start, bringing out credible people to vie for our position, people who understand the tenets of democracy and who are ready to stand for the people, and of course to make sure that people benefit from the dividend of democracy, not the other way around, not politicians who, of course, like they say, the game of politics is a game of interest, and from the way things are panning out, a lot of politicians are, moving to the ruling party, like one of their our party leader who says that if you've sinned and you move over to the APC, your sins are forgiven. So you can see that that's what is playing out. But it's rather shameful that we have people who are not who they have no iota of integrity, and they are holding a very important office as that. So if you ask me who to blame, I'll tell you that it's just about self. It's about those political tyrants, I'll call them, who are just there and who are just there to be at the corridor of power, not minding the cost. So if we go into the 2027 election with this kind of political terrain and political style, I think it's going to be dangerous, and that is what the ruling party is really working hard to see, and to muzzle up the opposition so as to have them, weakened. So they're just going to be a straight win for them. We once practiced that, if you recall, during the Obasanjo regime, but we knew what played out, and it wasn't a good one, where the president, as we're seeing playing out now, the president can easily just remove a sitting governor, as just what just happened recently in Rivers State. So
yes, I was actually about to speak in that line, because there's so many rumors, that there's a possibility that more you know, more people from other parties will move to the APC, especially serving governors. So if a one-party state, because right now, you know, we're a legend. So if a one-party state is going to be formed, right? How do you think that that can be stopped? Is there any solution? Is there any way that, you know, forming a one-party state can be halted?
With the kind of political actors we have, it's going to be hard to call to say it can be stopped. Yes, but it's not something that we can totally. Shy away from to say they might not. I mean, we might have political. We have strong forces, especially I think it can be stopped if as we have the agitation right now from the north and some key place stakeholders from the north are putting themselves together. I think there might be a lot of loopholes here and there, but it's not going to be an easy cry, because you know that our current president is really a strong political actor, and he has been behind the scenes for quite a while, and he knows how the game is being played. So, you know, having them to stop a one-party system and having the ruling party so-called using the state instruments to muzzle up the opposition. I mean, you can't, but you won't be surprised to see more governors defecting so as to save their head, and of course, their political ambition. But being stopped, I think, with the major talk going on, and of course with the the article and what's it called, El-Rufai, putting that together. Although some Nigerians will say these are people of questionable character, they won't form a major party that brought about the APC now because they are not being favored, so they're trying to form another coalition so as to fight the ruling party. It's not going to be an easy task for them, but we can only but fold our hands and see what plays out. But with this current political actor, it's really going to be hard, because I mean, we have a National Assembly that sings "Your Monday We Shall Stand." We have a judiciary that also, that tilts towards the ruling party. So it's and of course the opposition are being muzzled up, and we only have few, here and there who just speaks, and and of course they try to be politically correct in their statements so as not to be harassed. So we don't have people who are daring, people who are out there to say, yes, it's the right for the opposition party to come out and, of course, checkmate the government of the day. So with this current political actor, it's really
going to be very difficult.
To use the word impossible, but it's something that we're open to options, are open to surprises when they spring up.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Atewe. We appreciate you for your time. Thank you for speaking to us on this.
Thank you so much for having me.
I will take a break now. When we come back, thank you for staying with us. Now, the Kano State government has banned all live political programs on media platforms and introduced new restrictions on interviews, citing the need to protect the state's cultural and religious values. Journalists are now barred from asking provocative questions, and all interviewees must sign an undertaking to avoid abusive, defamatory, or culturally offensive remarks. Now, the announcement followed a meeting with media executives chaired by the governor's spokesperson, Ibrahim Waya. A statement from the Ministry of Information said the move aims to promote responsible journalism and preserve public order. Media leaders reportedly pledged cooperation, though critics may see the measures as a clampdown on press freedom ahead of political developments. In order to increase the internally generated revenue of the state, Abia state government says it has engaged an institution to conduct an enumeration of the taxable citizens and houses in the state. The government says it wants to ensure that the state's annual internally generated revenue is tripled from 40 billion naira to 120 billion naira by the end of 2025. News Central's Chinwe Ugele has more.
Tax rebate for some time now, following a government's policy. Yet in 2024, Abia state government generated the sum of 40 billion naira as internally generated revenue from various sources, which represents a significant increase from the previous 17 billion naira recorded by the previous administration. Apparently not satisfied with the progress made, the state government says it wants the IGR to make a quantum leap to 120 billion naira annually.
To deliver on the promises of the new area, the government is unlocking every viable window of internally generated revenue. We have set an ambitious but achievable IGR target.
We've seen the good work His Excellency is doing, and of course, to keep the good work going, we need more money.
Addressing journalists in Omahia, the government representatives say the aim of the enumeration is to have a data bank and possibly identify more people who are not paying taxes yet.
One of the things that plague nations and states is that they lead blindly. They don't have data. So this enumeration will give us data to plan for people, to plan for businesses.
The governor of the state has done so well, and the only way we can encourage him is to pay our taxes.
Although the government fails to highlight possible areas of target for financial boost, he says there will be no extra taxations for the people.
He said it's not about increasing taxes or extorting people. It's all about getting the right data, assessing the right revenue channels.
As the state government embarks on this task of enumeration and increasing the IGR of the state, there are fears of possible additional economic woes from the exercise.
They should stabilize the economy first before they will start telling people to come and start paying tax.
There is the to affect
While there is no gainsaying that taxes are an important source of government revenue, the expectation is that the people should be sensitized to have a buy-in for easy implementation and compliance. In Omahia for News Central, Chinwe Ugele.
A federal high court in Abuja has dismissed the suit filed by MultiChoice Nigeria challenging the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission's intervention in its recent subscription price hike. Delivering judgment, Justice James Omotosho ruled that the suit constituted an abuse of court process as similar proceedings were already pending in Lagos State. He stressed that the plaintiff should have pursued its arguments in the court of first instance, thus rendering the current filing inappropriate. Justice Omotosho, however, noted that while the FCCPC has investigative powers under its Establishment Act, it lacks the authority to fix or suspend prices unless specifically delegated by the President through a gazetted instrument. He added that Nigeria operates a free market system and service providers like MultiChoice retain the right to set their prices, with consumers free to accept or reject them. Meanwhile, the Kogi state government has denied reports circulating on social media claiming that it is set to recruit 20,000 workers into various ministries, departments, and agencies. In a statement released by the State Commissioner for Information and Communications, Kingsley Fanwa, the government described the news as false, unfounded, and deliberately misleading, urging the public to disregard such information. According to the statement, the administration of Governor Ahmed Ododo is currently focused on improving the efficiency of the state civil service, streamlining its structures, and investing in initiatives that enhance productivity. It warned that those spreading the fake news are likely out to defraud unsuspecting job seekers and advised the public to rely only on official government communication channels for authentic updates. With the rise in cost of living in Nigeria, many are feeling the pain of the day-to-day struggle. Such is the story of a street hawker in Ajegule area of Lagos. We apologize for that. Now let's move to Katsina State, northwest Nigeria, where the scars of banditry runs deep as whole communities have been displaced, with families torn apart and survivors left with nothing but trauma. A year after violent attacks forced many families from their ancestral homes, victims are still struggling to rebuild their lives, with their pleas for help seemingly lost in the wind. In this special report, our correspondent Jamil Mabai brings you the heartbreaking stories of those living in the shadow of terror.
They came with violence and left with everything. Homes reduced to ashes, livelihoods wiped out. Lives shattered in seconds. For the people of Guda community in Kofi local government of Katsina state, banditry isn't just a headline. It's a daily nightmare that refuses to end.
Tundamu amma banna ta mamaki amma babu kamar su. Gaban mu aka kashe shi sannan kuma dama kamin shi amma mu ga wake son yi a kirga. Yanzu dai magana da ake a gurguje ba mai wata sana'a wadda za a ci gata ta kamar mai mutum na neman iyalan shi abinci.
Saboda akwai wani lokaci wanda ma an kusa sati ban san inda iyali na suke, ban san inda nake ba. Rayuwa ta ni kan hankali na ma bai kwanci, kusan ban san abin da nake wani lokaci. Wala ya na haƙi wani lokacin ban gane lokacin da ake ciki, saboda abin nan ya tada mana hankali.
Once these fields fed families, now they are graveyards of memories. Farmers too terrified to return.
Noma ina noma yayo, noma sai dai abin da ba a rasa ba a gurguje. Ka je ka fara shakka an ce gasanan ko kuma kana noma an ce gasanan ka tashi ka ruga. In ba masu gonakai ba nan jikin birci to ba wanda ya noma can abin da ya yamma gonakai sai dai yanzu suna nan an sanya musu wuta duk haki ne an toye.
Their stories are not just a pain, they are warnings. Survivors mute what authorities won't admit. This crisis is spreading, from whispers in distant villages to bloodshed on their doorsteps. Armed young men, ruthless and unchecked, turning villages into war zones. Families who once only heard of the violence now live it.
Garanti ne wannan ni duk inda aka ce wani abin zai je ba ni musu saboda ga can baya labarin abin muke ji nesa sai aka waye gari ya mutsu mu akalla an ɗauka mu san huda tun can baya sa ya kai 60 da wani abu.
Yanzu ka dauka wannan kayan da ke kira wallahi su kare ne, gida na an kona, shagura an kona, ban ga da zan ban koma gari kuma in ce zan ci abinci a gari saboda yanayin da ake.
1 year later, the world has moved on. But for the victims of Katsina banditry, time stands still. Their question remains, when will help come? Or will their cries fade into the silence, like the ashes of their forgotten homes? In Katsina, reporting for News Central, I am Jamil Mabai.
News now returns after the break. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, the trial of former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello resumed today at the Federal High Court in Abuja. At the start of proceedings, the court ruled on the admissibility of a judgment delivered by the FCT High Court in a separate suit between Ali Bello and the incorporated trustees of the American International School linked to the EFCC's ongoing case against the former governor. In its ruling, the court sided with the EFCC, stating that the FCT High Court's judgment is relevant to the money laundering allegations against Yahaya Bello. Now, joining us to give us an update on this, we have our correspondent, Joshua Imarai. Hi, Joshua. Please go ahead with that update.
Well, good afternoon to you, Dashen. Upon commencement of cross-examination by the defense counsel, that is the person of J.B. Dawada, he questioned the witness who is standing before the court, that is the prosecuting witness, the internal auditor of the American International School in Abuja, where he asked the American International School if Yahaya Bello's name is on the parent list of the school, and he said no. And he further asked if any transaction linking the Kogi State or any of the local governments under Kogi State initiated a transaction to the American International School, and he said no. So they had some back and forth with some objections raised and some dismissed. Well, later on, the judge adjourned the case till tomorrow, that is the Friday 9th of May, for continuation of cross-examination by the defense counsel.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Now, what about Nnamdi Kanu's trial? We heard that he returned to court today. What's the update on that?
Well, upon commencement of proceedings today, a recording of Kanu's interrogation by the DSS, particularly on July 17, 2021, was played out in court. And in the interrogation, it was asked, Nnamdi Kanu was asked if he had any dealings that resulted into some of the violence that happened in the southeastern part of the country, where he immediately denied that and alleged that the DSS was trying to pin some spreads of violence happening in the southeast on the IPO. They further asked if he had authority over the people of Southeast, considering the fact that he called for a sit-at-home order, and duly it was obeyed. He said that if he had such power, he would have not been demanding for a referendum. He would have just declared state of Biafra. Well, the entire proceedings went on, and the court adjourned to May 14th for continuation of cross-examination.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that update, Joshua. Now, following a report by News Central on the incessant illegal arrest by men of the Nigerian police in Ajegunle area of Lagos State, News Central is back in the area for an assessment of the situation. We're now joined live by our correspondent, Israel Eferobo, who is on the ground. Hi, Israel. Please tell us exactly where you are at the moment and what the situation is. So we'll try to reconnect with Israel. Now, in Kogi State, the Ogori people, part of the Akoko group within the larger Yoruba ethnic family, are holding fast to their cultural roots, even as many have embraced Christianity and Islam. One of the most cherished expressions of their heritage is the Ovia Osese Festival, a unique rite of passage for young girls transitioning into womanhood. But this annual event is more than just a cultural milestone. It is a powerful symbol of unity for the Ogori people, drawing sons and daughters from across the world back home to celebrate their identity. The festival continues to serve as a living reminder of the tribe's deep cultural traditions and the strength of communal ties. News Central's Blessings Musugu was at the heart of the celebration and now brings us the concluding part of her special report.
The Ogori people of Kogi State are the Akoko group of the Yoruba people. This tribe values their culture, though many have adopted Christianity and Islam as their major religions. They have a unique festival, the Ovia Osese Festival, which is a rite of passage for young girls transitioning into womanhood. But beyond that is a significant event that draws together Ogori people from across the globe and is considered a unifying factor and a living reminder of their rich cultural heritage.
Well, Ovia Osese Festival is a flagship festival of the Ogori people. It's as old as Ogori itself. And it's actually initiation of young maidens into womanhood. But it is much more than that. It's not just preparing a lady for a husband's house. It is preparing a lady to actually take her position in the society, because women are regarded in the Ogori society. So she is prepared to take her position in the society at large. But today is a bit unique because we had to commission the statue, the Ovia statue. That is our, like something that stands like a flag, something we identify with. That's one Ovia dancing, you know, so that's our hallmark. The grand finale, and that's the day we display all the Ovias, call them the Evias, all of them. They will come, they will dance, and we'll still celebrate together, and then our dignitaries will come, no Ogori.
So we'll be going live to the Senate for the continuation of the debate on the tax reform bills.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. I have an observation, sir. in respect of interpretation clause. While we are considering section 25, we, following Senator Bunuzaro's observation, we deleted subsection 2. And the chairman did inform the House at that time that in the interpretation clause, I have gone through, it is not there. So I want to suggest, sir, that we now put it there. Organized private sector.
What Senator Sherifadin Ali is saying that what we move from the interpretation, that one should be now be included in the interpretation clause.
Yes, sir.
So your observation is noted and upheld.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, it's moved. It's moved. Automatically it was moved. Yes, Senator Dankwambo.
I have observation on, take you back. When we have a tenured appointment for 4 years to be renewed by another 4 years, can we now say 60 years again? Restrict the appointment to 60 years. So, because 32, you said the appointment, we said the appointment is for the first 4 years and can be renewed by another 4 years. Then we said, when you attain the age of 60.
That one is constitutional.
For civil servants. No, for civil servants, that's when 60 comes in, sir.
Huh? Okay, yes. The civil servants.
Yes, so we delete one of them.
So, in other words, what you are asking is if somebody is appointed at 59 and he attends, he does 4 years, and he attends 63, should he be reappointed for another 4 years?
You can even be appointed at 70, sir.
Of page
32 on page 20. It is in the beginning. But the areas is that the secretary shall, page 20. The secretary shall hold office for a term of 4 years and may be renewed for another further term of 4 years and no more, or until he reaches the age of 60 years. Which means that he can be appointed and reappointed, but if he reaches 60 years, even if he's 60 years, he's a civil servant, so his term will expire, even if he has not completed the 4-year period for which he was appointed.
Once he reaches 60.
That's why it said, until, it's not. He must be a civil servant. That's why it's secretary.
In the normal civil service.
In normal civil service procedure.
Because he's a civil.
Well, we apologize for the bad signal. And now we'll move away from Nigeria, where in Senegal, lawmakers have opened a critical debate that could send shockwaves through the country's political establishment. On Thursday, the National Assembly began discussions on whether to allow several former government ministers to stand trial before a special court facing serious allegations of embezzlement. The charges. Let's move to Angola, where a major legal and political showdown is unfolding after a Luanda court abruptly blocked a national debate on electoral reform, drawing sharp criticism from the country's bar association. On Thursday, the Angola Bar Association, known as the OAA, condemned the last-minute court order as a severe blow to democracy. The ruling came just hours before the OAA was set to host a national dialogue aimed at examining proposed changes to the country's electoral laws ahead of the 2027 general elections. The court ruled that the event fell outside the OAA's legal mandate, effectively cancelling the gathering, which had invited civil society leaders, journalists, academics, and legal experts to participate in what the organizers described as an open forum to listen, reflect and debate key issues of public interest. At the heart of the controversy are proposed reforms that include the use of national identity cards as the sole document for voting and the introduction of mobile polling stations. Still ahead. And shoots down 25 Indian drones near military installations. Details after the break. In other news from around the world, black smoke billowed from a chimney over the Vatican Sistine Chapel for a second day Thursday as cardinals meeting in conclave once again failed to choose a new pope. Now, thousands of the faithful and curious were waiting the smoke in St. Peter's Square on the morning of the second day of secret voting by the 133 cardinal electors. The 133 voting cardinals have been isolated inside the historic chapel since Wednesday evening, tasked with casting secret ballots to choose a successor to Pope Francis, who died April 21st of a stroke and heart failure. If no cardinal receives 2/3 of the vote, the ballots are burned with a chemical additive that produces black smoke, which signals to the outside world that the next pope has not yet been chosen. Pakistan's army has shot down 25 Indian drones a day after the worst violence between the nuclear-armed rivals in 2 decades. Now, Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif vowed to retaliate after India launched deadly missile strikes on Wednesday morning, escalating days of gunfire along their border. At least 45 deaths were reported from both sides following Wednesday's violence, including children. Pakistan and India have fought several wars over the Muslim-majority disputed region of Kashmir, divided between the two, but claimed in full by both. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our top stories. We told you that Abia State Governor Alex Otti has ordered the arrest of factional Labour Party Chairman Julius Abure as party crisis deepens. We also told you that Kano State Government has banned live political programs, issues interview guidelines to journalists. Finally, you heard that Angolan lawyers have rejected last-minute court orders stopping its planned debate on electoral reforms. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.